So I saw a fairly disturbing clip being passed around online, and I figured we should talk about it because as we move closer to the 2024 election, I feel like the political discourse coming from people on the right is becoming a bit more unhinged. And I'm not just talking about random nobodies from Twitter, I'm talking about people like Kevin Roberts. He's the president of the Heritage Foundation, one of the key architects behind Project 2025. So if somebody like Donald Trump were to be elected in November, it's people like Kevin Roberts that are going to be that much closer to power. So let's go ahead and take a look at what he had to say, and then we will discuss.
In spite of all this nonsense from the left, we are going to win. We're in the process of taking this country back. We are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
So I really want to focus on his rhetoric here. It may sound subtle, it may not sound like a big deal, but I believe he's using revolutionary war, bloodless, to evoke a feeling of rage or an emotional response that gives people permission to think political violence is okay. I think people like Kevin Roberts know that they do not have popular ideas, and therefore they're going to rely on political violence to achieve their political ends. And I think that that is absolutely unacceptable. I think we need to be winning people over with good arguments instead of relying on politically charged and violent language. So how does somebody like Kevin Roberts carry this out? Of course, the first step is to demonize your political opposition. And how does he go ahead and do that? Let's take a look.
Is it any surprise that the same party of death celebrating violence in the womb also justifies and even cheers the surgical mutilation of children, the euthanizing of the depressed, the persecution of parents and churchgoers, even a genocidal war to exterminate the Jewish people? Make no mistake, this idea of human inequality that some people count and some people don't doesn't come from the media or the government or the elite or the left or even Planned Parenthood. It comes straight from hell.
So any ideas that are not in line with his conservative agenda come straight from hell. How is his followers supposed to take that message? If they feel like they have some mandate from their God or something like that to save this country or carry out their political will, why wouldn't they use political violence to achieve their ends? I think Kevin Roberts knows exactly what he's doing here. That's why he uses such charged language. He calls us baby killers. He says that we're child mutilators. And he says that we're going after Christians and persecuting them. All of these things are meant to invoke an emotional response, a sense of rage towards the other side. And like I said, this is not how we're supposed to win people over in a democracy. But people like Kevin Roberts don't have popular ideas and therefore need to use this type of rhetoric. And he's not afraid to do so. He's spreading his message far and wide, and we should be paying attention and calling it out every step of the way. And because he knows he doesn't have popular ideas, how do you think they're going to want to carry their political agenda forward? Let's go ahead and take a listen to him here on the About Violence podcast.
Who want to be part of a noble system. Yeah. And we're building that right now. I mean, we're living in the Second American Revolution, Tim, which is to say we get to build the institutions that dictate the next couple centuries of the American Republic. That's why the unions are fighting so hard.
So there that phrase is again, the Second American Revolution. We don't invoke the American Revolution to talk about sunshine and rainbows. That was a war with many lives lost, with a lot of blood shed. This rhetoric is intentional. And as you can see here, he's talking about dictating to the rest of the country. That's why when you look at something like Project 2025, it starts to look a bit more like an authoritarian takeover than a mandate for conservative principles. They know that these ideas do not enjoy majority support. Therefore, they're going to have to use executive power or authoritarian type measures to implement their agenda. That's why it's people like Kevin Roberts who is praising the recent Supreme Court decision that gives presidents broad, sweeping immunity. He is hoping that the next conservative president that is elected will use that broad executive power to force these ideas onto the country. So I don't think any of this is a mistake. I think the rhetoric is intentional. I think he wants to evoke raw emotion. He wants to build a worldview where political violence is a bit more acceptable. So let's go ahead and listen to that first clip just one more time and see if we can notice how he's using the rhetoric. What is he trying to do? What are the emotions he's trying to highlight in people? Let's go ahead and take a listen one more time.
We're in the process of taking this country back. The reason that they are apoplectic right now, the reason that so many anchors on MSNBC, for example, are losing their minds daily is because our side is winning. And so I come full circle in this response and just want to encourage you with some substance that we are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
It will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be. Basically, what he's saying is that if the left doesn't lay down and let them run right over us, then we can expect violence. And then he goes on to say that, oh, everybody's just crazy because we're winning. That is intentional too. These people aren't going crazy because your side is winning. They're reacting to your bad ideas and the way that you'd like to force them onto the rest of the country. People like me are calling your bad ideas out. And we need to be doing this every step of the way. This type of violent rhetoric should not be acceptable in a healthy democracy. We need to make sure that we are winning people over with good ideas, not violent rhetoric. So it's very important that we beat these people at the ballot box. Because what they are advocating for is an authoritarian takeover. And this is just part of that playbook. So that's going to do it for me on this one, folks. If you got anything out of this video, if you could remember to smash that like button and hit subscribe, maybe share it with a friend or two, I'd very much appreciate that. If you think I got something wrong, or if you disagree with me about something, let's hash it out in the comments below. And if you want to learn why I think the Supreme Court is ruining America, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. And I will see you guys on the next one.